Hi YouTube, how's it going? This is Safulna. My real name is Luke. And I wanted to talk freely. I had a few ideas of what I was going to talk about. So when Eckhart Tolle does a talk, he has no idea what he's going to say. And he just goes from topic to topic, and he has a lot of stories, and he's read a lot of stuff about Eastern spirituality, and he gives a lot of examples of how the mind works, and then people ask him questions and stuff like that. And I had some ideas for how to make a video, and I'd rather develop the ability to just talk freely, though I could talk about some of those things. Some of the topics that I was thinking of talking about were self-love, which I don't know what to think of self-love. I don't know, it depends on whether positive emotions are pseudo pleasure or not. Excitement has to do with the future, and if you're present at the moment, that means that there's less excitement in your life, doesn't it? So unless there's some sort of understanding of the future that you still think about or have an understanding of the future, and that gives you positive emotions, then a lot of positive emotions at least are pseudo pleasure. And I've definitely experienced things from Eastern spirituality other than emotions that were very good. Feelings like warmth and peace and feeling good in my body and feeling present in the moment, feeling focused, being alert, awake, alive. Like all these different things that get covered up by emotions. And then you look at a lot of people who practice Eastern spirituality are less emotional a lot of the times. My friend's criticism of Eckhart Tolle was that he was boring. And I don't know why. I don't know if that's, I don't know who's at fault there, Eckhart Tolle or my friends. I don't want to call my friends at fault, but I don't know I don't know if Eckhart Tolle is actually boring, or if you just become boring when you become more spiritual. I doubt that. I doubt you just naturally become more boring as you become more spiritual. But they called him boring. Whereas when I first saw Eckhart Tolle, I thought he was very special, and I wanted to hear what he had to say. Another thing that I was thinking of talking about is Eastern spirituality versus Western spirituality. And you know how in Western spirituality or Western self-development, did I call it Western spirituality? I meant to say Western self-development versus Eastern spirituality. And Western self-development is positive thinking, and it's hard work, and it's trying to be positive, and all that stuff. Gratitude would probably be more aligned with Western self-development than Eastern spirituality. I don't know what to think about gratitude training either. I know that self-love and gratitude are effective. I know that there's growth involved in it, and I know that there's a lot of growth in Western self-development, but it's not necessarily for the reason that people think. A lot of it is because you're getting that stuff out of your system. So if the more you try to be positive, the more you get those pseudo pleasures out of your system. And that's what I started out in. I started out with Western self-development before I got into Eastern spirituality. I did it for about a year before I learned about Eastern spirituality. And then it seemed so superior to me. Eastern spirituality did. No thinking instead of positive thinking. So that doesn't mean that you don't think when you need to, or that there's not an understanding that helps you live your life, your practical things. But I started to realize that, well, I went from doing like affirmations and stuff like that, sort of being like I'm awesome type stuff, to like trying to be more humble. And humility is hopefully a really good thing. I know modesty is probably a good thing. Modesty feels really nice when you're modest. Immodesty is very painful. My mental illness, I had a large amount of immodesty. I thought that I was God. I thought that I was Jesus for a while. And it's super, super painful to be really immodest. There's a lot of suffering in it. So a lot of Western self-development is immodesty, is, trying to be arrogant almost. Trying to be confident but arrogant, And it's, I guess, good to get that out of your system. When I was first getting into Western self-development, I had a DeviantArt account. It's called DeviantArt.com. It's like the biggest art website on the planet, other than maybe Instagram now. But at the time, it was the biggest art website on the planet. And I made a little post, a written journal entry called "Believe in Yourself, No One Else Will," which isn't true. Some people might believe in you, but it got tons of views and feedback, positive feedback, and it seemed to be a huge hit. And believing in yourself is thought, is possibly ego. And an enlightened person may not have any belief like that at all. They'll have functional beliefs like don't, get hurt, stuff like that. But that's with evidence and whatnot. They wouldn't necessarily, and they honestly, okay, in a practical sense, they would believe in themselves, because if they were like, let's say that I became a really good artist, and somebody is like, do you believe in yourself when it comes to doing artwork? And it's like, yeah, I probably do, just because of the evidence. Like, if I was better, actually, I kind of believe in my ability as an artist as it is. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty good at it. If someone wanted me to draw something for them that was something that I would enjoy drawing, I could probably do a pretty decent job if I was able to draw right now without, my mental illness keeps me from being able to draw. And if I could get some practice, because I haven't really drawn very much in the last 5 years or over 5 years because of my mental illness. But I drew a few months ago, and I'm still, I haven't lost a lot of talent or lost a lot of my ability. I'm still able to draw, which is good. I'm glad that I'm not losing my abilities. So in that sense, you would believe in yourself just practically because of competency, but you wouldn't sit there and think thoughts about it. You would just be at peace, and you'd be at one with yourself, which is one of my criticisms of self-love. I think it's a great thing to practice self-love, and if self-love is a good thing, then you're doing a good thing. And if self-love is not a good thing, you're still doing a good thing because you're getting it out of your system. So I think that practicing self-love is fantastic. But I think that I don't quite remember what I was saying, but the point is, one of my criticisms of self-love is that you're creating two selves. The self, and it's like, or you're basically creating duality. You're creating a self that loves itself, and you're creating a relationship with yourself instead of simply being yourself. So what I used to say to people when I was mentally ill, I was schizophrenic, and I was pretty confrontational, is I would say I would rather be myself than love myself. Which makes sense. And then there's the notion of, should you even have a self, a sense of self? According to Eckhart Tolle, I've far and away listened to more of him than any other spiritual teacher, he says that Buddhists say no self and the Hindus say a great self. So having no sense of self versus dissolving the false self, the ego, and then there's a great self that comes in. Eckhart Tolle doesn't say which one is correct, and even if he did, I wouldn't necessarily believe in him, because what he says is find out for yourself. And I think that's a good way to do it. And I think it's just a matter of perspective. You could call the being that you are the great self, though there could be some ego in that. Or you could say that there's no self. I think both will be effective at getting you to where you want to go. Or maybe a sense of self is a good thing, and by practicing no sense of self, you're getting that out of your system. If positive emotions are a good thing, then a sense of self would be a good thing. If positive emotions are pseudo pleasure, then a sense of self would maybe be not the greatest thing. And we'll find out if there's a great self or not. I was leaning towards the great self back when I was way more able to meditate and stuff like that. Back when I was functional and working, more functional. I was still very mentally ill, but I was able to work and I was doing a lot better than I am right now. And I was in a lot less pain. And I sided on the side of the great self. I liked the idea, but I wasn't necessarily advanced enough yet to know. So right now, I don't know. I don't know if it's the great self or no self. I'll keep you posted maybe if I keep progressing and if I keep making YouTube videos. So I guess that was my talk. I went kind of all over the place, and that's kind of the idea, to be able to just do more of a freely spoken spiritual talk instead of having a specific topic that you're going to talk about for the day, which I might do some of that too. That might have its place as well, but I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a good day.